Meantime, in the tech space, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is under fire again, this time for a bombshell report on users' data. Yahoo Finance's Dan Howley joins us now to break things down. Howley, Facebook has its privacy concerns.
It does.
We know about this.
Yeah.
But what we're learning now is how they're using data in a particular way to kind of pressure rivals and using it as a bargaining chip.
Yeah. This is through leaked documents that were obtained by various outlets from an investigative journalist in the UK, Duncan Campbell. And basically, what this shows is that Facebook was willing to, at one point, do exactly what they say they don't do, and that's sell user data. And they didn't go along with it, but they did consider it, so that's worth keeping in mind going forward when you think about Facebook, but also that they used, like you said, user data to curry favor or have others curry favor with them. They would give prioritization to companies like Amazon or groups that had close relationships with executives, and it just kind of feeds into this ongoing narrative that Facebook doesn't know how to keep your data safe, doesn't recognize the importance of data safety, and all of this was happening with the backdrop that Mark Zuckerberg was saying, we do care about your safety. So it's all like, well, you're talking out of one, telling us one thing and talking out of the other side of your mouth, saying another, and you don't know what to believe anymore.
How much of does this kind of support the notion that, Mark Zuckerberg was coming out and saying that he wanted to see regulation in the space? Because if it's not clear what a company can and cannot do with user data, I mean, they're not facing criminal charges over this. No. It just doesn't look good in terms of saying one thing and saying, yeah, we care about your data, but also using it as a bargaining chip.
Right, yeah. I mean, the optics on this are bad, but they didn't do anything necessarily illegal. They didn't lose your user information this time. But, it does show that there is a need for regulation in this space. And Zuckerberg said that he wanted regulation, but then later Facebook clarified and said, we want it to be industry based regulation. Yeah. We want to be able to control how this goes, not politicians. And unfortunately, it shouldn't be that way, obviously. They've tried to do self-regulation and it's failed tremendously. So you need to have some kind of government oversight now with a company like this.
Dan, it seems like every few days there's just another talking point with Facebook with regards to privacy. But we've seen the numbers in terms of their business, and people aren't leaving Facebook in an exodus. So I just wonder, do you think that it's kind of a desensitized, attitude? I mean, we talk about the optics of Facebook so much, but do the optics for the actual Facebook user really change all that much on this, these continued news articles?
I think, yes, we are desensitized to it to a degree. We realize now that this is just a part of the doing business for Facebook. They're going to lose your data. There's going to be some kind of fishy way that they'll use your data. And yeah, we are desensitized from it. I think one of the benefits for them is that with a product like Instagram, which is seeing increased user growth, fighting back against rivals, making sure the Snapchat stays, at bay. It doesn't say Facebook on there. It says Instagram. So you lose that connection in your own mind when you're using Instagram. I don't use the primary Facebook app anymore outside of getting updates about parties or invites and maybe using Facebook Messenger, but I use Instagram all the time, and I feel like that disconnect is there and it benefits Facebook. I also think that, we recognize that our data is going to get out there at some point. And some people are just willing to take that risk and continue using Facebook, or maybe they're just not as aware of how egregious these issues are.
Well, it's funny, too. I mean, I think, to your point, having that distinction certainly helps, and we've seen it with other companies before. I'm reminded of a Blue Moon and a Coors. Of course, Blue Moon is, craft beer. They try and pitch themselves as a craft beer. They didn't want people to know that there was that connection. They kind of held on to that. But I think we're seeing that, too, with Facebook in terms of, to your point, some people don't even know that they're the same company, so they're not going to leave.
I didn't even know about the Blue Moon thing. I'm kind
That's what I'm saying.
mind blown right now.
So there's